Hi, this is Gary Fong, and I'm going to show you on your Nikon system how to get your flash off camera without buying any more equipment. Now, in another video, I've showed the hardware to basically put the flash on a stand, and in this video, I'm going to show you what buttons to push to activate the Nikon Creative System. The Nikon Creative System on this version requires a camera with a pop-up flash, one of these guys. And if you don't have the pop-up flash, then you have to use either a transmitter or an actual Nikon flash, and that's a completely different method. But this one is probably more for the beginning photographer who wants to know how to take the flash off camera without having to buy an expensive radio system or something like that. Okay, so here's the menu. Here's the menu functions. So now we go to the back of your Nikon, press the menu button once, and it will probably start off in the playback menu or something like that, one of these. You want to go down to the one that says on the top custom setting menu, and then you're going to want to hit the right of the OK button. This thing's kind of like a little joystick, and then you'll scroll down until you get to bracketing and flash. This one's already there, so so you just use this guy and push the buttons, and then we'll click one to the right, and these are my bracketing flash choices. I want to go to flash control for built-in flash. That's the little pop-up guy here, okay? So we're going to go down right here, and we're going to hit right, and then your camera probably defaulted on TTL, okay? So it probably started there. And what we want to do is we don't want manual, because that's just full power, half power, quarter. We don't want repeating flash, that's kind of a strobe. We want commander mode. And commander mode will turn this thing into basically a trigger. Now the trigger can be seen in your exposure or not seen. It's completely up to you. Right now I have it on built-in flash mode, but let's just go ahead and put it on the default, which is where you would typically be. So built-in flash was on TTL. We want to turn it off. So hit the down button twice on TC dashes. That means the built-in flash is actually off. Now it's not off, it's actually going to pop, but that pop is not part of your exposure. So let's go down to group A, and let's think of this as exposure group A. So we're going to tell any flash that we program to group A to be TTL, which is proper exposure. And that is probably it for any camera off flash. You just go ahead and say group A TTL. If you have a second flash and you want to change the exposure, simply go to we're going to go down here to commander mode again, just turned off. Go down here, so that is TTL. We're going to hit the right button until we get down to the next guy. Group A, again, will be just regular properly exposed flash. If you have another flash that you want to have as a separate effect and you want to change the power of the additional flash, go ahead and on group B, just go like that, and then just go, say, down one or two, or if you have a hair light, whatever you want to do, or you want to experiment. The thing is all of the exposure control is done right here in the camera, not on the flash itself. So if I had, say, 6 flashes, and I want them all to be proper exposure, I never need to go into group B. All I need to do is tell all of the flashes to be group A, and they'll all be proper TTL exposure. Okay, so group B, we can go, minus or whatever, and that would be the exposure group B. And now let's go to channel. Channel typically for you would be defaulting a channel 1. Let's just go ahead and go up to, say, channel 3 or 2, it doesn't matter, but we want to have it on a different channel, because if you default at 1, and the reason why there's 4 channels is in the unlikely scenario that there's 4 Nikon shooters and they're all using off-camera flash and they all choose channel 1, you've got to huddle with them and say, okay guys, I want you to be 1, you to be 2, you to be 3, and that's why there's different ones. Okay, so it's built-in flash is off. Group A TTL, and let's say, for example, Group B, I'm going to take it down 1 stop, as I often do for color backgrounds, even 2 stops for color backgrounds, and then we're going to go to channel 3, and then I'm going to hit OK. So we hit the OK button. Now you'll see that it's on commander mode, and then this is ready, once we pop up the flash, to do nothing but trigger the flash for the other, as a signal for the other flash units, which is really cool. So all it's going to do is going to do a blip, not going to figure into your shot with those dashes, and it's going to just basically trigger the other flashes. Now this is the SP900, and the menu is just a little bit different than the 700, but it's basically the same. So let me just show you how to click through it. So we're going to go to a remote. Again, we're going to click on, and then one past it to remote. And now you'll see up here you have your groups, A exposure group, B exposure group, C exposure group, and the channel, the receiver channel, channel 1, 2, 3. So on this one, let's just go ahead and say that it's the only one we've got. So I'm going to put it into group A, which it already is. So then we're just going to change the channel to channel 3, I believe it was, and then just hit the OK button. So these are the navigation buttons. If you want to go left, you click one here, that's the group. If you want to go right, you click one there, and then you hit OK once you're done. And now this thing is ready to be the primary flash on exposure group A. So it's really that simple. So if this was the only off-camera flash you had, then you would just basically put it on group A, like that, and then channel 3, like that, and then now it matches the camera. So this is the SP700, and we're going to turn this into a remote flash. So it's very simple. Just you're going to go hit this on switch and go one click past it to where it says remote, like that. Okay. Now you'll see here it says remote, group A, and channel 1. Now I discussed earlier that group A could be your regular TTL. And what I mean by group, I mean exposure group. So let's say we have 3 groups. One is regular TTL, one is minus TTL, or whatever. Or you don't even have to have multiple groups. But in this situation, let's just pretend that this is flash number 1 for the first scenario. So we're going to hit this select button a couple times until it goes to group. And we'll call it A, which is fine. And then I spoke earlier about choosing maybe channel 2 or 3. So we'll choose channel 3 here. And that's it. Now this thing is ready to go. It's completely ready to pick up the signal from your camera or remote transmitter. If this was a B flash, which means that I want it to be group B, and group B just means, again, exposure group B. So in the camera I'll say all the ones that are in group B underexposed by 1 stop. Okay, so that's basically all that is. So let's just go ahead and hit select, and we'll just change it to group B. We're going to remain on channel 3 because we want the camera to talk to both of them. And you'll notice here I don't have any plus or minus exposure controls, and that's because the plus or minus exposure controls, as you saw, was inside the camera, and that's how the Nikon Creative System works.